Hey, it's Ben. Welcome back to Oasis Nuevas Forces. Today I have an interview with Brad and Glaucia Meyer. Brad and Glaucia have a very unique ministry in Brazil. They also do member care. So stick around. I think you'll like it. So Brad, Glaucia, can you tell us a little bit about your ministry?
Sure. We are Refuge at Greenmountain in southern Minas Gerais, Brazil. We're a mountaintop town that with a single family residence. Our house is 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. We host a couple or a single at a time. And in terms of who we host, that would be missionaries, pastors, church planters, etc. And so what we'll do is we'll take somebody who's in a condition of borderline critical. They're perhaps in a transition. They're suffering from extreme stress. And so what we'll do is we'll allow them in from anywhere from 4 to 10 days. Our model is a hospitality-based model. We love on them the first 24 hours. We feed them well. They have a wonderful bedroom. And then we begin to unpack the things that they're going through, the suffering, the transition. And so in a nutshell, that's what we do. That includes a lot of debriefing and coaching. Anything else you would like to add to that?
Yes. When our guests arrive here, we want them to feel special. We want them to feel welcome. So we have been learning from God lately. We need to wash people's feet. So even have that heart to serve them. Cool. And all the time they are here with us, we serve them in different ways. So we have the debriefing and coaching, but also we want to serve them as the meals we prepare for them. They have the mornings for themselves. So we prepare the breakfast, everything they need, and they can have their time alone in the morning if they want to walk, if they want to have their devotionals or sleep more. Because a lot of people, when they arrive here, they are very tired. They need rest. Yeah. And we offer that rest for them. It's one of the primary things we have. They need rest. And we have one meal together, like an early afternoon around 2 p.m. We have a big meal because Brazil, the main meal, it's lunchtime. So we have this meal together. And even on the table, because the primary thing in our ministry, it's sit on the table together. We break bread together. And we started there to share our needs and just to listen to them. And they start to unpack most of the time on the table when they arrive. And even the evenings that we spend almost 3 hours every day with them and debriefing and coaching. And they have the evenings, so they can rest also, go to the bed and just take their time and rest. So that's what they do here. And sometimes Brad, he go hiking with people, he take them, even sometimes with a man, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're multifaceted here. We are case by case. Everybody's different. Although they come in and all of their needs are similar, but you have different people from different walks, different personality types, physical, non-physical, isolationists and alphas, and so we adjust to everybody wonderfully. Sure. One thing I want to add to this initial period. Which can be awkward because although people are debriefed through an information guide we provide them, they still don't know what they're coming to because we're the only ones that do this in the entire country. So there's an apprehension on their part. You know, we have to unpack this with them. We have to basically tell them, look, you're not staying at Brad and Glaucia's house. This is your home while you're here. So there's a lot of unpacking we have to do so that they better understand, you know, what their time is going to be like here. So that's a common practice. We have to do that with pretty much everybody. So that's why in that decompression period, that first 24 hours, it's important to acquaint them with who we are, what to expect, as well as giving them their time of decompression and transitioning away from the stress.
You had mentioned debriefing several times. Can you guys just explain what a debriefing is for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what that term means?
You know, debriefing, it's one of those words, it takes on different forms. I know there's clinical applications, there are professional applications. In terms of the way we do it, again, we go straight to biblical models. You're not going to find debriefing in the Bible, but what you will find is that when you invite somebody into your home and you've resigned yourself as a worker who is going to serve that person, you train yourself to listen deeply and intently.
Sure.
We keep a Bible close at hand. We're always going to be biblically based in terms of whatever they're unpacking. If it points to the Bible, then we're going to apply that. But at the same time, we're humans first, and we're just loving them from, you know, 2 humans to 1 or 2, and we're listening. And this is what's breaking down the barriers. And then debriefing is followed with asking poignant questions. You're taking whatever it is they're unpacking, and you're building a case with that. And so, fast forward a little bit, we'll go through a session. And so Glaucia and I, the next morning before we go into another session, we go out and we walk. We debrief each other. We debrief what we debriefed the day before. And then that way we come together in a oneness so that there's going to be things that she saw or heard that I didn't. I may have a perspective to share with her that she didn't see. And so we do that as a team. And so that would be one way. But debriefing in all, it first involves very intent listening. It involves very poignant questions. It encourages them to look in other directions if you're seeing a direction that perhaps they haven't mentioned or seen, and it's part of what they're sharing. But also, there's a lot of what you don't do with debriefing. You're not counseling per se. You're not saying, for example, well, you need to do this or you need to try that. You're always encouraging with the questions, have you tried this direction, or have you tried this approach, or what do you think about this?
Sure.
What you'll find, it's like a flower. It just begins to blossom, starting with the listening, to asking the questions, to opening up a dialogue that reciprocates really in the long run.
But what would you think that your gift or specialty is as a couple, you know, that you bring to the table?
Yes, we have encouragement, must him, and hospitality. That's something we feel in our hearts. It's the gift of the Holy Spirit gave us. Both of us, we are very hospitable people. We love to have people in our home. We love to make them feel special, because there is a difference between hospitality and entertaining somebody else.
Yes.
Entertain, it's more about the host, but hospitality, it's about your guest. You're going to serve your guests. You're going to meet the needs of your guests when your guest is here. Your guests arrive in your home. It's about your guest. You don't need to have a big table with all kind of meals, but always hospitality involve a place to rest, ears to listen, and a table. They are the three primary things we have in our ministry, and we have fulfillment in us when we do like that for our guests.
Cool. Cool.
So, talk about your encouragement, because that's you.
You know, we can talk a lot, but it really comes down to the simple principles of just loving people.
Yeah.
And when we love people the way God calls us to love people, we abandon ourselves in doing that. I believe with both of us, it was a gifting from God. And,
Yes.
early on in our marriage, we were doing this unbeknownst that it would ever be a ministry, but we were taking the low and rejected people in our church, and we were inviting them over, and then eventually we were heading a singles group, and again, this is a group that felt rejected, and we just opened up our home to them on a regular basis. We had book studies, just hosted them. We did holidays together, and this just grew into a vision at one point. And it became a calling, and then we pursued it. But yeah.
The term member care hasn't come up yet, but a lot of times this type of ministry is something that puts itself in the category of member care. Can you guys define member care for us, please?
Well, member care, I think, initially got its acknowledgement in the just in the realm of healthcare. When you have an elderly or somebody who is decapacitated, you hire somebody, or you have somebody who is going to look over that person under the umbrella of member care. They are helping out others, and so. But in terms of the Christian realm, in terms of as a ministry, really it's taken on so many faces. Let me give you the Brazilian model, because it expresses extreme views. For example, we're a hospitality model of member care. We care for people from a hospitality base. In Brazil, the predominant model and the predominant ministry has a very clinical, psychological approach to Christian workers. And that has everything to do with preventive care versus non-preventive care. We're preventive care. Brazil as a whole, and really much of the world, if you get into the Asian cultures, you'll find there is no such thing as prevention. So member care is going to look very clinical and psychological in its approach. So then you've got all points in between. We can tell you, as we were being raised up to be member care workers, God developed in us our model. It was similar to other models, but we found if you put 50 to 100 people in the room, they were all a little bit different in their own way. The bottom line was they had a home or facility to bring in Christian workers and to care for them. Whether it was just leave food on the table, leave them alone, give them a retreat, to counseling, clinical counseling. And I want to add one more. I'm sorry, I left a Brazilian model out that is evident in the States and elsewhere, but it's not one of the predominant models. You will have member care workers that will travel to the workers. Because the workers, and typically that will look like a very poor region, a very poor missionary. They don't have the funds to go anywhere, so it's more or less a rescue. You're going and you're helping them in their household, and you're giving them a respite for a period of time. So wanted to add that because that's yet another extension, especially here in Brazil.
So what are some of the common misconceptions that you guys have seen about member care?
Oh boy. Well, because of where we're located, it really lends to where we are and where we do this. We're in this mountaintop community that's very touristy. And so we have to build in some boundaries. And the misconception would be that we're a retreat, that we're a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
That and so we've had a vacation getaway, all of the above.
Sure.
Things that are not us, and we've had to decline quite a few applications or registrations for that reason. So the misconceptions are, oh, there's this house up there that if you're a missionary or you're a pastor, you can go and it hardly costs anything. So we have to really be careful with those, and we filter them out, and so we gracefully decline. But those are the primary misconceptions we get.
What would you like people to know about this type of ministry?
I think they need to let themselves, I don't know the right word to say, but they need to see there is a need for that in their lives, because sometimes people think they can be pushing, work, because God needs me. If I don't do, nobody else is gonna do. And until they burn out. So they don't think about when some red flags start to come in their lives, in their bodies, they stress, tired. And a lot of people, they walk through depression because they don't prevent themselves. They let themselves burn out.
Yeah.
So I believe they need to start to think they need rest. They need to take time away. It's not a vacation time. Sure, they need to have vacation with their families, but it's time for themselves, time for clarify things in their minds, in their hearts, their emotions. Can be stress in their marriage, stress with organization, stress with family. So they need to find that. That's what we are here for, to receive them for those few days and help them to unpack it. It's not a family retreat, or no, it's to care for them, for their ministry, the call they have, or who they are in Christ.
Sure.
So, anything?
Yeah, I will add to that, really. There is a common denominator, no matter how different the people may be. The common denominator is they're doing what they're doing, and often they get lost in the facade of God can't do it without them.
Yes.
And I think inevitably, I'd have to estimate 90% of the time with our guests, we're bringing this up, and this is an issue where they're out there exhausting themselves because they think if they're not doing it, nobody else will, or nobody can do it as good as them.
Sure.
And they're just clouded. What's the beauty of it is, whenever we're confronting that, we're not dealing with people who are offended by what we're sharing with them. In fact, it's more like a cloud lifting. They begin to see, because they're lost in that place. It's not an arrogant factor in all of that says, I can do this better than anybody, or if I don't do it, nobody will. They truly have really good intentions, and they're truly resigned to serving God. They just get lost in the whole principle of it, and that no, God can do it without them, and when they're not around, God's going to continue to grow that ministry or others. So, but anyway, that's the common denominator. People think that that they're out there doing it and nobody else can do it like them, or if they're not there, then who's going to do it? So,
That's really good. That's really good. Well, yeah, thanks for that. That's a lot of good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. How can people get in touch with you guys?
Okay, well, right now, we're in a little bit of transition. We do have a website that we're not yet posted on. I will share with everybody, you and I are friends because we've been together with Life Impact for some years, but we're transitioning away from Life Impact to a ministry called Helps Ministries.
Okay.
For us, this is going to allow us to grow independently. And so right now, Today it's the end of February. We are officially on board with Helps Ministries
Okay.
March 1st. So that would be an email. If I can just give you the email, they can reach us at any time, would be
Sure.
Greenmountain. That's Greenmountain, one word, at helpsministries.org.
Okay, sure. And I'll include the links in the description box below with you guys' email and stuff like that. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anything that I didn't ask that you think might be important to this conversation or anything like that?
Yeah, I would. I think in terms of member care as a whole, I think for the betterment of member care, I spend a lot of time in member care circles. I hear a lot of opinions and a lot of good ideas. And I think all of those may be good, but I think there's a lot of people out there. If they only understood how important it is just to take a step, if they're called because they're good at loving people, they're good at hospitality, but the fact is the model's not out there for them to follow. I would encourage those that might be even seeing this video that there might be a place for you in member care, and that it's not as clinical as people want it to be. For example, we see a lot of people out there that, much like in the medical realm, you have a specialty area where I'm good at this, or I'm good with the kids, or all of these clinical approaches. And I think that all has its place. But I think collectively speaking, I think member care is missing the boat. And that I think if more people would just step out and just trust God to again, with us, we started with nothing. We started with we didn't have a blueprint at all. We started with Google. Who's doing this? What are they doing it? Where are they doing it? We traveled. And so based on our experience, and that was years of just setting the table on what this may look like, we conclude today that we think a whole lot of people could step up and be a part of this wonderful ministry. It's a much needed ministry, and we can tell you firsthand, it's growing exponentially. But it needs to grow more. The church is growing. More people coming to Christ, and the stressors in the world are greater than they were 20, 30 years ago.
Sure.
I'd like to conclude with that.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you know of anyone else who you think could benefit from watching this video, please share it with them. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe. Now we upload a new video every Saturday. See you on the next one.